A couple of days ago, I was involved in a charity boxing event and I was getting punched in the face quite a lot.
Oh.
However, it was for a good reason because unbelievably, we raised over 650,000 Thai baht, which is well over 20,000 US dollars. It was all for an amazing cause. And so today I just wanted to give you a little update and tell you the story of how we came up with the idea, how we pulled off the event in the first place. I'll let you know exactly what happened in the fight and my thoughts on boxing in general. And then I'll let you know obviously about the money that was raised and how it's going to be used, which is obviously for a very, very important and great cause here on the island of Koh Samui. So let's start off with, how do we come up with this idea? Okay, so just so you know where I am, if you watched the first ever Samui side quest, I came up here. It's just this hill that goes up to the top of the hill. And it's got a fantastic view, so I'll take you up the top today. It looks like we might have a really nice sunset. Look how beautiful it is. And there's a buffalo over there having a little feed under the tree. We couldn't find him last time, but he's here today. So we'll go have a little wander over to him and I'll tell you about the idea. So obviously when I got to Samui, one of the things that I came here for, other than to avoid all of the COVID stuff that was happening a couple of months ago and still is, but was to be near friends and to be able to do things because Samui was open and not as many restrictions in place. And obviously Muay Thai and training with Note was something that I was really excited to do. You saw in a few of the videos that I would normally end the video in the afternoons at Muay Thai because we were training 2 or 3 times a week. And it was fantastic. It was really good health, it was really good fitness, and we were rubbish, as you can see, but you know, we were enjoying it. And one day after training, we'd jump in the sea, and one day I said to him, you know, maybe we should do a charity fight. And he just laughed. And I was like, yeah, come on. And he was like, no. And I was like, okay, fine. But he did say, Note did say that we'll do something, we should do something, but let's not fight Muay Thai, that's stupid. And I kind of was glad he agreed because Muay Thai is deadly. It's a crazy sport. It's one thing hitting pads, but it's another thing when you actually accept that somebody may elbow you and knee you and kick you with their shins and do all that horrible, crazy, gnarly Muay Thai stuff. Anyway, you know, trying to help the people of Thailand has been something in the back of my mind and in the front of my mind a lot throughout my travels. You know, when I'm in the provinces, most of the provinces I've been to are kind of untouched when it comes to the whole tourism collapse because most of the provinces of Thailand, even in the south, aren't based around, the economy isn't based around tourism. You know, in places like Patron, yes, you have the Talai Noi, and obviously they don't have that many tours seeing the beautiful lotus flowers, whatever, but it's not an entire industry. You know, the farmers and the locals there basically carry on regardless. However, in the small pockets of places where, you know, I'm just getting eaten by mosquitoes, where tourism is massively part of the infrastructure, like Samui, Koh Phangan, Koh Tao, closed businesses everywhere. Like in Samui, there's an area called Chawang, and I haven't taken you there because it's just closed. Everything is closed. And, you know, pre-COVID, that was an area that was happening, and that was an area where people used to, you know, get their suits tailored and go partying and get massages and go to the beach and do jet skiing and all this stuff. And the whole industry on Chawang Beach has gone, or it's currently closed anyway. And so, you know, I don't normally point the camera at those things because, you know, there are other YouTube channels out there that do that. They focus a little bit more on showing you the negative impacts of the pandemic, and some of them actually go a little bit beyond just pointing the camera at it. There's people and creators like Ride for Kicks who do a lot of good work in Pattaya. Then there's Forrest Lee, he does a lot of good work in Bangkok. And obviously Chris from Retired Working For You has done a crazy amount of work across Thailand using his platform and social media to raise awareness and raise funds. And so it has been something that me and Flora and Note have wanted to help with and wanted to do, but, you know, especially me, I'll just speak from my perspective, I just felt uncomfortable about donating some of my own money or asking money from you guys to help with funds from me to then you know, buy food supplies and then package it all up and then give it to the local community. I just thought to myself, man, if I was in the position where I'd lost my job and lost my business and I was relying on someone else to feed me that afternoon with a free donation of fried rice with an egg or whatever, the last thing I'd want is to stand in that queue and be filmed lining up with the mask on, head down, thank you very much, taking the plastic bag and be in a video. You know, I think these Thai people who have lost everything, it must be so difficult to go line up for that free food. Obviously, if you're desperate, it doesn't become difficult anymore, but you know, the first time they line up, they must think, oh my God, what's happened to my life? How has this happened? How am I, you know, lining up, waiting for food to be delivered to me? And so the last thing that I think those people need, and I would feel uncomfortable, and I'm sure they feel uncomfortable, is someone pointing the camera at them, documenting it for a good reason, but it just didn't sit well with me. And so I just didn't want to do it, because I could raise money and we guys could get together, I know we could, but I would have to kind of show you me and the people doing it, you know, giving the food away and showing accountability. And so it just put me off, because I didn't want to like go and film these poor people who need the food. I was like, no, how can I do this through a proper way, you know, because these other content creators are basically doing charity work, okay? And I just think charity work needs to be done by charities, right? So that's how we came up with the idea to do an event, make it a positive, fun event, and direct people to send funds to a proper charity. And I think that was the idea that when Note finally came to me and said, look, why don't we just have a boxing fight, no Muay Thai, no elbows, no crazy elbows, and we'll try and raise 50,000 baht, because we know a really good charity on Samui that need money, they're desperate for money, and 50,000 baht will be enough to feed them for 2 months, or to give them money to get supplies for the people that need it for 2 months. And as soon as they told me, I trust Flora and No, and we vetted the charity, they seemed awesome. They obviously proper registered here on Samui, and we just thought, and I thought, this is gonna be the best way to do it personally for me, which is to put on a positive, fun event, get people to support it, and give that money to a professional charity who can take care of all of the needs of the local community, because they are in constant contact with them, take care of everything. And I don't need to necessarily go and follow it up, and we can just trust them to do it. But I'll talk a little bit more in a bit, because we are going to be showing some accountability towards in a couple of days, or maybe in a week or so. I won't be here, but I'll talk more about that at the end. But the next topic I want to talk about is the event. How did we set up this amazing event, especially on Samui in the middle of COVID? Okay, so let's talk about the event. So to throw an event on Samui was a little bit of an issue, because we didn't want to piss anybody off, do something we shouldn't have done. And officially, with COVID and everything, you're not allowed to throw an event, and you're not allowed to have a group of more than 50 people, and no alcohol, and you can't charge tickets, and you know, it can't be a proper event. So we didn't. We decided to make it 20 people only, no ticket entrance or anything like that, just a little donation, which we used to give to the trainers. And obviously no alcohol sales. And we went to the police station. No, actually went to the local police station in the area that we wanted to have the fight, and he went along and asked permission. And it was quite a funny story, because when he went into the police station, you know, Note being Thai and speaking Thai, he went in there and said, hi, I need to speak to the sheriff, I need to ask permission. We're looking to host a charity boxing event. There'll be 20 people there, no alcohol, we're not charging tickets, it'll be about an hour and a half long, is that okay? And they were like, when is it? And we said, Saturday the 4th of September. And they said, oh, that's the sheriff's birthday. So they were like, yeah, do it, and we might come along and see, and we might actually come along and watch the fight. So we were like, okay, good. We've got the blessing from the local police, because we didn't want to get like in trouble. And we just basically made sure the event wasn't really an event. It was just a low-key place. And if you saw during the stream, you know, we were at this it's called WIN Gym, and that's where me and Note train boxing and Muay Thai. And it's a really run-down gym, and it's lost most of its clientele. In fact, all of its clientele recently, the last few customers decided to go to a new gym because it really is run down. And they don't take care of the gear because they're not making any money. So why would they repair stuff? And the two trainers who train me in Note, bless them, they're down to the, you know, they're struggling. When we told them about the fundraising, they were like, oh, who are you fundraising for? And we said, oh, the people of need in Samui. And they were like, we're in need. And you know, once they finish training us, they go out fishing for squid to sell in the market for extra cash. So these hard-working guys who can't really make the money they were used to because no one's training in the gyms anymore, or in their gym anyway, we wanted to help them as well. So that's why we asked people to come, you know, our friends and a few of you guys who were staying at Lana, like some subscribers. I said, look, come along, but there can't be more than 20. And just bring a little bit of cash and put it in a box because we're going to give that to those trainers. And we could have done it at Punch It, you know, and had it legit with the lights and everything, and it would have looked much nicer. But with it being a charity and event, and we're wanting to help as many people as possible, obviously Punch It, they have customers and clientele coming in from abroad, and they have, you know, their gym's popping a little bit compared to this place. So we just decided to stay with the run-down, broken-down place. And so we didn't want to be flashy, you know. We used their hand wraps. Oh my gosh. That's cool. We used their hand wraps, and you know, instead of using fancy boxing robes, I came in on Dreamy with the 7-Eleven rain poncho. Note came in on his wife's bridesmaid's gown from a hen night. And you know, Note had the local kids behind him as his hype boys, and you know, it was just nice to be there. And when they panned the camera across, you could have seen the handful of people that were there. It wasn't many, like I said. I think it was 20 or so, basically, in total. And then we started the event. We had judges scorecards. I had my corner man Joe, who again is a subscriber who's staying at Lana. Thankfully he had boxing experience and he really helped me, so thank you, Joe, because I definitely would have got knocked out if it wasn't for him. And then we get to the fight. So let me explain how the fight went down, because that was one hell of a scary experience.
Oh.
There you go. Come on, boys. Remember why you're doing this? Yeah.
Oh. And, oh. Oh, wow.
Once I got into the ring and the referee was about to start and I had my mouth shield in and we did all the announcements, that was when the excitement went away and the nerves went away and just pure fear came in, because Note isn't a very good fighter, obviously. You know, me and him haven't done hardly any boxing training, Muay Thai training. It's a couple of months at best. And you cannot, physically, you cannot be any good at throwing punches and technical, being a good fighter or anything like that without months and months of practice. So the only reason why I was like, okay, I'll fight Note is because, yeah, he's got all the muscles and he's in shape and everything. But, you know, I can see that he can throw punches just a little bit better than me. Just a little bit better than me. So I knew I wasn't going to be in super danger of getting really hurt. And, you know, muscles don't win fights. Heart wins fights and skill, right? And I knew that we were both lacking in skill. And, you know, I have a big heart and I wasn't going to give up. So I was like, yeah, come on then. But then the second the bell went and we started jabbing and started punching, I realized, holy moly, this is not like sparring, because we had sparred quite a bit before. In fact, if you're a channel member or a Patreon, you would have seen this leaked sparring video that I sent you guys about a week before the fight. I leaked and showed you guys our sparring footage for advice. I was looking for advice and help how to beat Note, because in sparring, and obviously during the fight you might see, he's just way more active than me. He throws more punches, he's more aggressive. I just tend to back up too much. And I think that's basically purely down to fear. Fear of being hit, fear of being hurt, and fear of being in a fight, because it's not natural for me. I am not a fighter. You can probably tell that, yeah, I have a sense of adventure and I like to enjoy my life, but fighting in a ring with someone is so much more different to hitting pads. And the second I started getting hit in the head, and he was punching through my guard because my guard wasn't that good anyway. And I was getting my head rattled, and I think he almost gave me a massive black eye. I was sure he cracked my cheekbone at one point, but luckily he hadn't. The fight unfolds, and the first 2 rounds, it was more about just getting through, making sure you don't get embarrassed, dance around a little bit, make sure you keep my distance, clinch if he was starting to dominate me too much, and just get through it. And then the 3rd and the 4th round, don't really remember anything. All I remember was the 5th round, just looking at him and thinking, he's as tired as me, but I think I can finish strong. And I was really proud that I won the 5th round. The judges said that I showed real heart, and I just didn't let him bully me in the 5th round. Stood up to him, came forward, hands up, and I threw a few big, nice overhand rights that connected to him, rattled him, gave him a headache the next day, I can tell you that. And the fight was over. And once the fight was over, I was so relieved. Also, there was one point, and I got to tell you this because this is kind of like a weird human psychological thing. There was a point where, I can't remember what round it was, but it was towards the middle of the fight. I had my guard up and I was up against the ropes, and I could just see him getting ready to throw some heavy punches. And I knew my guard was okay, but I knew they were going to get through, or they were going to hit my belly and my ribs, and then he was going to come up to the face. I knew I was in for the world of pain, and I had to take a few before I'd be able to stand and move out of the way, because I don't have the skill to bounce off the ropes and move out of the way. Anyway, so I'd do this, and all I saw was the charity donation, 600,000 or something, and then when he hit me, the donation went up, like a jackpot machine. And then he hit me again, and he hit me again, and it was like 3 or 4 punches in a row, and the money of the jackpot was going up, the donations were going up, and it was like, wow, that's really weird, because it motivated me to just be like, don't worry, Paddy, it's just getting punched in the face, this is for a good thing, this is for an important cause, take the punches, don't give up. Because I think, in the 4th round, there was a point where my arms were so heavy, and he was coming at me, still punching me all the time, and I was like, how am I going to win? I just should give up. I should just go down and just fake an injury, or just give up and say I'm gassed out, I can't fight anymore. But at that point I ducked and threw an overhand right and connected with him, and I hit him in the face, and that just gave me a massive boost of energy. I think the crowd cheered a little bit. My corner man Joe shouted, "That's it, that's how you do it, that's how you do it, Paddy." And I was like, you know what? Let's have a scrap. Let's get to the 5th round, and I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad I didn't give up. I would have regretted it if I'd given up. So anyway, that's what it's like being in a fight, in a boxing fight, as an amateur with no experience, fighting a guy with loads of muscles and who's better than you. It's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. It's 25% fun, 75% absolutely terrifying. Have a look at this. This seems to be somebody's shack. And there's massive ants growing, not growing, walking along here. Look at all the red ants in there. They're having a little drink. I wonder if this is a little hut where the guy who takes care of the buffalo sleeps or hangs out sometimes. Anyway, I'm going to go up to the top, and then we'll talk about the money and how we're going to use it, where it's going, and the logistical part, and how we're keeping everything accountable. So I'll explain that when I get to the top, because I've got a big hill to negotiate first. Okay, that's the steepest hill done. And so, by the way, if you're wondering what happened to the live stream, I'm so annoyed, but basically, I had the live stream going. Thankfully, Dylan from 2 Passports, 1 Dream agreed to host it for me, so thank you so much for doing that, Dylan. I gave him my phone, and I had a little selfie stick for it, and we were live streaming the whole event. The Y Crew, we had a Y Crew event, with the Thai style dancing, and Dylan was explaining the meaning behind all of that. And then, you know, he was pushing donations with Adriana as well from 2 Passports. And that was a real great way to hopefully bring you along and make it feel like you were watching the event with us. You know, I got home from the fight and it was live, and I started watching it. I actually put it up on the table and had a cold beer, because I know I haven't been drinking much beer in the last 100 days. I think I've had 4 days where I've drank beer in the last 100. But the day after the fight, or the night of the fight, I was like, I'm having a beer. So I was having a beer, watching it, and then it just disappeared. The live stream just disappeared. And then it said that it had been removed by the uploader, but I hadn't touched it, guys. Anyway, so because Dylan and Adriana did such a good job on my stream, and you know, the event was really positive, and there was a lot of call to actions to keep donating, the WeBoon donation page, every time we were refreshing it during the fight event, it was just going up and up and up and up. And I think during the fight alone, the WeBoon page went up by 100,000 baht. And there was also super chats that were coming through via the YouTube live chat. Okay, so super stickers and super chat, both of those are like direct payments that go from your bank account to my YouTube account, and then at the end of next month I'll get all of those super chats to my personal, you know, bank account. However, YouTube takes 40% of super chats, and after the live stream had finished, I screenshotted the overview of the live stream, and it said that I had raised, I had earned 10,000 baht in super chats and super stickers. So obviously with 40% of that going to YouTube, it works out at about 6,000. And so it's a couple of days after the fight, and I'm now able to go into my analytics and have a look at exactly what money came in on September the 4th. And with super stickers and super chat, I can see that it was 180 something US. And when I do that into Google, I can see that that's 6,000 baht, just under, but I rounded it up to 6,000 baht. And then today I added that into the WeBoon account. So I won't get that money for a month, but that's fine. I'll give it to the account now because we want to close it today or tomorrow. And so if I go to the page, you can see 9 hours ago I donated 6,000 baht, and I said that that's come from my super chats. Flora and Note did something similar. They donated 5,000 baht because they made 187 Canadian because they set their YouTube channel up in Canada. And 55 minutes ago, because we're still getting donations, Kylie Pickering, she says, well done, Paddy and Note, 750 baht. But this is the last evening that this is going to be live, because we want to close the account and we want to give the money to the people that need it. So right now it may go up a few more baht before Flora and Note do decide to close it tonight, but it's at 657,107 baht in total donations. There you can see that's the total right now. Like I said, it might go up a little bit, but anyway, that is a massive amount of money. We cannot believe it. We cannot believe that's how much money was raised. And so what's going to happen is, because Flora and Note set up the WeBoon account with their ID and linked it to their personal bank account in Thailand, they are going to be the ones responsible for closing the account, taking out that funds and transferring it directly to the Rotary Club, the charity that we chose that run the Food for Life program. So because Flora and Note are basically in charge of making sure that people get the money and the charity gets the money, they're going to be making a video on their channel this week at some point. I'm not sure when, but they'll document and show the full accountability of the transfer of the funds, all of the 657,000 baht, and then they'll document exactly how Food for Life use it. I do know that that is enough money for them to have food supplies for the 500 families that need it for over a year, for well over a year, because it was over a year when we had 500,000 baht and we had a meeting with them. So an extra 157, it's going to be a lot longer than a year. So basically head over to Flora and Note's YouTube channel and subscribe, and just keep an eye out for a video coming up soon where they will document the whole process, because I'm not sure if I'm going to be around to do that. So because I'm thinking about getting back on the road, guys, but I'll talk about that in the next video. So that was basically the story of how this incredible island was the scene for something really fun and chilled out, like a miniature little boxing fight, that thanks to the fact that, you know, 30-something thousand people follow along with what I'm doing, and putting eyes and information in front of you about people that are lesser off, and a lot of you being super generous, that you can actually do something like this. This is the power of the internet. This is the weird thing about social media, is people can connect and people can get together and people can help other people, and that is something that I knew, and I've done things like this in the past, but never at this scale. So I'm still completely blown away, and every day when I check my phone and I see that total coming up, I'm always just like nudging my friend next to me, like, or whoever I'm with, like, look at the money, it's still going up, it's still going up. So I hope you enjoyed the story, and I hope you got a little bit more information about the whole event. I'm sorry the live stream got deleted. Thank you again to everybody who watched the stream. If you did get to watch it, if you missed it, go watch the fight on Flora and Notes channel. You can go see how I did in real time, and, like, you know, without any interruptions, and see the full event. And just thank you to everybody else involved, and everyone who tuned in and donated. And yeah, just it's something that I'll look back on with fond memories, and I'll be proud of myself. Hey, I'm proud of myself that I did something like this, and that I was able to stay in the ring and not quit and get through it. So exciting stuff coming soon. Trust me. Some might say it's next level. Okay, see you in the next one.